Dave not had a good week.
I've had a good week.
There's a teaser there, a teaser.
Oof. Okay, nothing to see here. Drama over. Full stop. Anyway, we'll get to that. She will be mortified.
Because she's the first female chancellor.
I popped upstairs, made myself a cheese sandwich, and now I'm with you.
Annalise has come dressed in the magenta of electoral dysfunction. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello again. Let's return to our top story now. Passengers are facing disruption at airports across Europe, including here at Heathrow, because of a cyber attack. Graham Stewart is head of public sector at Checkpoint, and he joins me now. Afternoon to you, Graham. Knowing what you do about these kinds of systems, how long do you think it will take airline companies to put things right?
It depends on quite how far into the system the attack has gone. It's highly likely that a lot of them will have backups, a lot of them will have pen and paper versions of this that they can retreat to, but frankly this could take days. And obviously there's the domino effect of planes being in the wrong places, air crews being outside their air windows, so this could last for a couple of days easily.
Oh, I'm sure that's not what passengers want to hear. And what do you think the cyber attackers are looking for with this? Is it the disruption, or is it data?
So there's a couple of things in play here. The first thing to note is that this is part of a wider trend of attack on what's termed CNI, critical national infrastructure. So if you think back to earlier on this year, you had the attack on M&S and Co-op. So going after that, you had attacks on the MOD payroll provider. You had the attack on the NHS pathology services provider. So typically this breaks down into a number of different sort of rationales for doing it. One is state-sponsored, which this doesn't appear to be, but again, not beyond the realms of possibility. The other one is just criminals, basically. I mean, let's call them what they are. These are criminals looking to cause disruption for political, but usually financial gain. So there's any number of reasons why they would be doing this, and frankly, until we've got a really good root cause analysis of what they've done and how they've done it, it's hard to kind of ascertain the actual reasons for doing it. But this is just part of a wider trend, and the airlines have been on a war footing now since the attacks in March on the retail organisations.
Graham, can I ask why you seem quite certain that it's not a state-sponsored attack?
Just typically because it's not a good idea to make assertions about whether or not it is or is not until we've got the sort of root cause analysis of this, until we actually have a really good understanding of where the attack came from. But if you look at what's happened in the last year or so, if you think about the M&S hacks, the TfL hack that was in the news earlier on this week, that was a criminal gang that did it. And the criminal gangs are doing this in original terms, they were after it for notoriety, but now it's a financial gain. So this is the modern day bank heist. And frankly, until we know more details, I wouldn't want to sort of push either way on this.
You mentioned that airlines can resort to just using pen and paper to do this. Shouldn't there be some kind of halfway house between the IT systems that they have in place and just going totally back to basics? Shouldn't there be some kind of backup system?
And in many cases there are. So if you look at Heathrow, they've got their own backup systems in place. But what you've got to bear in mind is these airlines will outsource some of their core functionality to third-party providers, specialist providers. And if you look at some of the smaller airports that have been affected, they're just not big enough to have systems like Heathrow. So Heathrow is the biggest airport in Europe and one of the biggest in the world. So they have the ability to flick over to a backup system. But even then, it does mean that you've got a degradation in the service levels that they're able to provide their passengers and their customers. And so that does mean you're going to have a slowdown. So there are backup systems in place. There are approaches that you can take here, but it's always going to have an effect when you have to move from one system to another, be it pen and paper or a backup IT system.
Do airlines and airports take IT as seriously as they ought to, do you think?
So what I can comment is from our point of view at Checkpoint, we work with some of the biggest airlines in the world. They've been on a war footing since the retail hacks. Because if you think about what airlines are, they're not just moving people around in planes, they're big retail operations these days. And so actually what they do is they take this really seriously. And the people, I know personally in the industry are some of the hardest working people in cybersecurity. The problem is that this is an arms race, and so as fast as organizations like ours are developing technology and we're helping organizations put processes in place, these bad guys who don't have any kind of limitations on working hours and how they do it and morals and ethics and all that kind of stuff, they're moving at a really fast pace. So what I would say is this: the airlines do take this really seriously, and obviously airlines and airports are now all part of a sort of interconnected ecosystem, a digital ecosystem. They take this really seriously. Someone like Heathrow is typically running at 85% capacity the entire time. So they work really hard on this, but you're up against the bad guys here, and you know, like I just said, they don't have any morals or ethics to guide their work.
All right, Graham, fascinating talking to you. Thanks for speaking to us.
Thanks a lot.
You've been watching Sky News Today. Don't go away.